Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I'm going to give you some tips for new yoga instructors. So I had a previous video, it was quite a long time ago now actually, that we put out that was addressing what it takes to become a yoga instructor. And so that was a pretty popular video, so we're going to go ahead and go off of that and give you some tips now for new teachers and things that they might want to consider when they're new to the profession. And so I have my little iPad here, so I'm going to use for a reference sheet. So the first tip is going to be experience. And so that's one of the things that as a new teacher, obviously you have to get out and just do it in order to get better. Just like anything else, practice makes perfect. So I would recommend taking on some teaching positions that are a little just easy to kind of come into, like volunteering. One of my first things that I did was I volunteered at a group home for people with physical and developmental disabilities, and it was just a good place for me to kind of get my feet wet. I felt very comfortable and safe there. Another thing was I used to go and practice with my friends in a park. So I'd invite a bunch of my friends and I would teach them a class, and that was another great way to get some experience before I was actually going into kind of a more professional setting where I would get a lot more intimidated, because it's really intimidating when we first start and kind of get in front of people, and it's helpful if we have a little bit of experience in public speaking and just getting ourselves out there. So that would be one of my first tips for you. So experience is number one. Our second tip today is going to be preparing for your class and being able to adjust if necessary. And so a huge part of being a proper instructor is to really prepare for your class. Like, what are you going to teach? How are you going to build up to it? What is your apex pose? What are the poses that are going to help to facilitate the process of opening to achieve that? And then you have to be able to adjust it. If all of a sudden you prepare this wonderful class and you are teaching to a level 2 audience, which is on the schedule, and you get 4 people walk in that have never ever in their lives done yoga, which happens all the time. So obviously you can't teach that level 2 class to somebody who's never ever done a practice. So you're gonna have to modify that really in a pinch if you need. So you need to be able to kind of have a backup plan as well. Our third tip is going to be to know the studio and the equipment. So whether you're teaching in this jungle setting in my studio back here, it's pretty easy. There's not like you have the computer in the front desk, which for me, when I taught back in Colorado and Denver, I was kind of one of the most frustrating parts of getting prepared for class was the computer, the stereo, knowing the heat or the air conditioning. Just know your way around, be prepared, and always have your music and your iPad or your iPod all ready to go and understand the equipment that you're using, so you're not fumbling around in the beginning of class, stressed out trying to work things and not knowing what's going on. Okay, so we have the fourth tip is be able to read your students. So, that's a huge part in being a good instructor, is being able to notice when somebody is maybe more reserved, and you can tell the energy that they're expressing is like, I don't really want you in my space. Okay? So respect that. Some people don't like to be touched. They don't want you to come over and give them all these modifications and hands-on adjustments and corrections. And so you've got to really be able to read people. Some people are like craving it. They're like, come over, give me adjustments. I want all this attention. I want you to come into my space. And you as a good instructor should be able to recognize and read that body language from people, even from the moment that they walk into the door or the studio until they sit down under their yoga mat. And then our fifth tip today is always ask your students if they have injuries prior to class. So this is a really important one, because if you get into class and you're teaching a specific posture and you have a student who's has disc disease, or they've had a shoulder surgery or knee replacement or hip replacement, and they're really struggling, you're not really sure why, you don't know what to do, it's just good to have a little bit of preparation and to know what's going on with your student. And I like to ask them privately too, so they don't feel like you're like in the very open of class, hey, do you have anything wrong with you? And of course, it's just sometimes some of these injuries are personal, and people would rather discuss them in a more private setting. So I would generally ask them as they're walking walking into the studio up to the front desk, you know, just quietly ask, is there any injuries, anything you have going on, or you have maybe someone who's pregnant and expecting. It's another thing that some people don't like to disclose right away openly. It's kind of quiet, so you just want to be able to be prepared. Then if they do have an injury, you need to be able to modify. So as a new teacher, that's another thing that you should definitely study and learn, is how to modify for, you know, any injury, any type of issue that might occur in a class setting. So those are our 5 tips, and you know, we're gonna have some more of those to come. And if there's anything that you guys are thinking about or you have some questions about, you know, just let us know in the comment boxes, and I'll put out some more videos that will pertain to that. Thank you so much for checking it out, and have a great day. Ciao.